Rich, be a champion in life. Hey, man, I just want to talk about one of the breakout groups we had the other day. I bring in my assembly, power speech, and then we have breakout groups in the afternoon. And, the school gathered a bunch of vapors, like 20 of them, gathered some vape kids that were vaping, and they know the kids that are struggling with it. And they brought them in for a breakout group, a private little discussion group, and we started talking. At first the kids were kind of giggly. I said, how many of you vape? All of them raised their hand, and they're giggling and talking about it, and they think it's cool. And you know and during that hour discussion, things started to shift. And these kids just need to talk about it. It took a while before they started talking about you know about kind of why. And then and it's usually because other kids are doing it. It's kind of cool. A lot of them don't even know how harmful it is. Some of them are like, oh, it's just vapor water. Well, it's not just vapor water, guys. And I'm not an expert in the field, but what I am is a discussion for the kids. And sometimes they just need to talk about it, give them perspective on things. And somewhere along the way, it was about 45 minutes in. Pretty soon I said, how many of you are athletes? None of them raised their hand. I said, how many of you were athletes? And at least 5 of them raised their hand. And what we found out was they kind of put it on the wayside because they were vaping, hanging out with other vapors. And, so I asked them, how was your athletic career? And, the one kid was an all-star baseball player. He was one of the best. He was great. And now he doesn't play at all. One gal loved volleyball, played a lot of volleyball, and now she doesn't play at all. And I sharing with them that I never felt better in my life than when I was competing and working out, and like with my A game. I never felt better in my whole entire life than when I was playing sports. And and they're a light bulb starts coming on. And and then I started talking to them about a story about a friend of mine's daughter. She was one of the best athletes in the state. And started making some poor choices, decided to fold up sports altogether, didn't play sports the rest of her high school career. Dad was crushed. Told this story, and you see him thinking about it. Dad was crushed, but there was nothing he could do about it except for support her and hope that she doesn't get off track too far. And that kid, that all-star athlete, is graduated high school now. And what I told him is that it haunts her. It haunts her that she didn't finish playing ball through high school, and that she put it on the wayside, and that could have been her avenue to college, and could have found success in college through the sport, and she can never get that back. And you start talking to these kids about that and giving them perspective and sharing story with them, and it's like all of a sudden they all start lighting up, and they realize that they're destroying their opportunity. They realize they've put vaping at the top of the list, and there's so many other things that they enjoyed doing. And it's really just an educational piece. That's all it is, trying to reach these kids from different angles. And the best part of it all is when I left, headed down the road. I got a call the next day, and he said 2 of those athletes came to the guidance office and came to the principal and started talking to him about it, and saying that they want to play ball again. I mean, that's a massive win, guys. And for me, those breakout groups, I'm not a counselor. I don't know what to do. I just field questions. I talk about the presentation. I kind of give them my perspective, and I tell story. And it's really about engaging these kids on a higher level, because connecting with them and understanding that the choices they're making can haunt them for a long time. And so I don't know, it's just making it important. All the giggling kind of went aside, and pretty soon it started getting more serious. And then by the end, you could see they were all reflecting on their old athletic career, and I think some of them wanted it back. And so those 2 kids follow through and get back on the ball field. It's a massive win for the school. It's a massive win for me. It's a massive win for Be a Champion in Life. And it's just saving more kids and getting them more engaged. And I think that's the key. We need these discussions. They're more important than ever. The presentation's one thing, but we need the discussions. We need to connect with these kids and hopefully get them to think twice.